move this a bit. Okay, so what we have done, we have created, let me just redraw the whole thing once again. So we have a v-dimensional input layer, we have a n-dimensional hidden layer, and we have a v-dimensional output layer. Okay, and we have a weight matrix here which is W, we have a weight matrix here which is W dash, and we have the training data coming from the bigrams. So training data, a lot of training data, and we have the rule for predicting the output, rule for predicting output through softmax, which I just explained to you. Now the goal is to minimize the cross entropy error, because we have training data error. So when we minimize the cross entropy error, so bad with this. Okay, when once we minimize the cross entropy error, what do we get? We get the W and W dash optimal values. We get the optimal values of W and W dash, which end up minimizing the training error. Now, why is this good? This means in the whole process, what we have achieved is, we have achieved an n-dimensional representation for a v-dimensional word, right? Why I am saying v-dimensional word? It was part of a vocabulary which was v-dimensional. It was this v-dimensional word had no interrelations. We use the corpus of English language, and using the corpus of English language, we have converted this v-dimensional word, which was all atomic words, which had no connection with each other, into an n-dimensional representation where the words do have a meaning, a connection between each other. So like I mentioned, the word push and the word pull are very related now. They are quite different from the word which is like a boy. In fact, there are some very classic examples that people have shown experimentally. Once this neural network is trained and it has found the optimal W and W dash, once they have found it, they have actually seen, for example, they have seen that king minus queen, and then you add it to man. Sorry, king minus queen, not added to man. Let me undo that. Add it to woman, and you end up getting man. So what I'm saying is, the word king has an n-dimensional representation. The word queen has an n-dimensional representation. When you subtract these two and you add it to woman, which is also having an n-dimensional representation, you get a value which is very close to the n-dimensional representation of man. So this is remarkable, which means your neural network has actually learnt English, because by itself these v-dimensional words had no such connection. They were all, each one of them was an independent word. There was no connection between king, queen, woman, man. But having done all this neural networks and optimization of the weights, this is what we get. So this is just an example. There are many such examples that have been shown in the literature. So it's ultimately, the fact is that once we do this training on this corpus of literature, we have got an embedding into a much lower space where the words have connection with each other. Now, what is the advantage of this? So the advantage of this is, let's go back to the problem that we had earlier, we looked at. The problem we had looked at earlier, which our CEO had given us, which was identify the team that needs to be assigned the issue. It's no longer looking so complicated, because what do we have? Ultimately, we have a description. The description, earlier we were using million dimensional vectors to represent the description. Now we have just a 500 dimensional vector, because this description, we have already used word2vec on each of the words, and each word is now a 500 dimensional vector. So you have 500 dimensional vector for representing the description. So a 500 dimensional vector, and the output is a team, and maybe we have, I don't know, 1000 data points or even more. We may have slightly more. Maybe we need 10,000. I'm not sure. We with 10,000 data points, we can actually hope to have a very good prediction model. Very good prediction. This was not possible earlier. So earlier we would have surely had an overfitting problem, because of the fact that we have many more dimensionality of input space compared to the number of data points for training. Whereas now it's not so bad. We have that number of training data points is not too huge, but then neither is the input space. So if the input space is not, input dimensionality is not so huge, our whatever we use as the weights for predicting the team is going to be that much smaller, and we would get a model which will generalize to the test case quite well. So this is how it works. So this is word2vec. Okay, so let me know, having explained all this, I will come to some of the closing remarks here. I had put them down. So let me recollect what I had put as the closing notes. Okay, so here are a few notes. One of the notes which I already mentioned earlier. See, we in this whole example, I started with bigrams. I said bigrams where one word predicts the first word of the bigram predicts the second word. Now, in reality, that is useful for explaining. But in reality, what we do is maybe n-grams, where n is probably 5 or even bigger. So what we do, we have 5 words predict 1, or we have 1 word predicts 5 surrounding words. So this is called the bag of words model. Bag of words, which means you are creating groups of 5 words at a time in the whole corpus, and you are using those groups of 5 words to predict the word which around which that 5 words exist. Or this is the bag of words approach, or you do the other way, where you have the 1 word which is predicting the 5 other this is called the skipgram approach. The 1 word in the 1 word predicts the 5 surrounding words. So this is the skipgram. So experimentally, it has been observed that skipgram performs better. Experimentally, skipgram works better, and I think it takes a little longer to train also, but it's okay. I mean, the training is anyway a one-time activity. Having done see, the beauty of this is we don't need to train it every time. We train this on the entire corpus once. Having trained it, we use that embedding for many other problems. Like I said in this example that our CEO gave us, we don't need to once again do the training of English language. That is already done. It is already done, and there is a public data set available. It is publicly available, this embedding of each word in a 500 dimensional space. So we just borrow it. So this is the first note I wanted to cover. Then the second note is yes. So the second point is, so this is note 2. Note 2, in whatever we did so far, we did words as the starting tokens. Okay, we started with words, and from there we went to the relationship between words in n-dimensional representation, etc., etc. But it has been observed that we can do better if by doing what is called a word piece. So this is something where words are further subdivided into smaller pieces. So for example, there is an example, typical example is, let us say, scientific. So this SCIEN very commonly occurs. So it occurs in science, scientific, and then I don't know, any other words that you can think of. It's science fiction. No, science fiction anyway. Okay, but because of the fact that it occurs quite, this SCIEN typically refers to a subpart of a word. We actually do a word piece tokenization, where the word itself is further subdivided into most frequently occurring prefixes. So when this is done, so we don't start with words as the starting tokens. We start with subparts of words as the tokens. And when this is done, actually word2vec becomes, it is no longer word2vec. It's an algorithm called fast text, which is supposed to be even more powerful, better than word2vec. So this is the second note I wanted to cover. And the third point is, of course, I mentioned here that we are doing with I mentioned that we are doing with n equal to 500, which is a good starting point, but yeah, I said that in this case we started with n equal to 500 is a good example that we start. I mean, we can go with the higher ends. It typically means that we are building in more features into the words. So yes, people have done it. I think for most practical purposes, 500 seems to be good enough. So this is a third point. I think that's out. Probably in another lecture I will cover glove embedding. For today I'm done. Thank you.